Hello, friend. I'm Lily Rose, and this is Through the Ashes, a podcast about grief and the quiet ways we grow because of it, not in spite of it. I am so glad you're here. Quick note before we begin, I am not your therapist. I'm just a person who's walked through loss and has found that grief wears a different face on everyone. If you are in acute crisis, please reach out to a professional or trusted support line. Let's begin. Welcome back to another episode. I want to talk about something we don't usually talk about, a kind of heartbreak that doesn't just come from loss, but from what happens after loss. When someone you love passes away, you expect the grief, you expect the shock, the sadness, the longing. But what you don't expect is how grief can suddenly turn on all the lights in a dark room, showing you people exactly as they are. Today's story is from someone who lost her beloved father only 4 months ago, a loss so deep it changes the air you breathe. And as she navigated the grief, something else emerged, something painful, unexpected, and unbelievably human. When her father passed away, everything inside her world shifted. The person who had been a pillar of love, strength, and connection was suddenly gone. In the silence that followed, she began to see people differently. She saw the true colors and intentions of those her father once knew. People who smiled, who shared moments, who claimed to care, suddenly pulled back. Support that once felt warm grew cold. She saw her phone calls gradually stop, the messages slow down, the condolences served as a polite ritual, and then life went on for them. But not for her, not for her mother, not for her younger sister. And in the middle of this emotional hurricane, she also felt a loneliness she never saw coming. Her husband, her in laws, people she expected to lean on, couldn't hold space for her grief. They wanted her to be back to normal, as if normal was a place she could just walk back into. She didn't feel supported. She didn't feel understood. Instead, she felt invisible. So there she was, heartbroken, grieving her father, and grieving the idea she once had of the people around her. The only true support came from the three of them: herself, her mother, and her sister. A small circle, but a strong one. It was in this sacred space of shared pain that she realized how deeply her father had connected them and how much strength they actually carried inside. Grief has a way of peeling back everything that's superficial. It reveals who stands with you, not just in the sunshine, but in the storm. It can be shocking to realize who disappears, but it's also clarifying. Because grief doesn't just show you who's missing, it shows you who's there. And sometimes that circle is smaller than we ever expected. But smaller doesn't mean weaker. Smaller often means real, present, honest. And here is something I want you to think about. Some people are uncomfortable with grief, and that's okay. It reminds them of their own. It asks them to sit in emotions they don't know how to hold. So they retreat, not because your grief is wrong, but because they are unequipped. And that doesn't make the loneliness hurt any less, but it does explain the silence. Here is the reframe, what you can take away. Are you ready? Not everyone is meant to walk with you through every chapter in your life, but grief reveals the ones who are. Your grief didn't leave you alone. It revealed your core. It showed you the relationships you can trust. It uncovered a bond between you, your mother, and your sister that is unbreakable. It reminded you that your father's legacy lives inside the strength you shared with them. Instead of focusing on who didn't show up for you, focus on what you discovered about yourself. You learned that you can stand in the darkest room and still see truth. You learned that your heart is capable of surviving what felt unsurvivable, and that love doesn't disappear with death. It reshapes, it evolves, and it continues through the people who truly remain. Your circle may be smaller than you imagined, but it is more powerful than you think. And in the quiet of your healing, you may just find that you're stronger, wiser, and more deeply connected to what matters than ever before. Mark Nepo said it best. I learned that grief can be a slow ache that never seems to stop rising. Yet as we grieve, those we love mysteriously become more and more a part of who we are. In this way, grief is yet another song the heart must sing to open the gate of all there is. If this story touched something in you, I want you to take one small step today. Just one. Reach out to someone who has shown up for you. Tell them you're grateful. Tell them they matter. And just as importantly, promise yourself that you will show up for you. Honor your feelings. Protect your energy. Give yourself the compassion others might not know how to give. Because healing doesn't begin when people return to you. It begins when you return to yourself. Take this moment right now to breathe, to acknowledge what you survived, and to remember that you are not rebuilding alone. You are rebuilding stronger. If this episode found you where you are, please reach out to throughtheashes@outlook.com. Share your name, where you're listening from, and if we're able to share your story on a future episode. Next week, we're talking about what healing can look like after miscarriage. We'll explore small steps, gentle practices, and the moments of light that begin to return. We rise, maybe not fast, maybe not pretty, but we rise. I'm Lily Rose, and this is Through the Ashes. See you next week.